Oh. Oh. Hey guys. Oh, I'm a little sleepy. I just rolled out of bed. I got a couple announcements for you today. First of which is, why am I dressed like this? I have a fairly silly shirt on. I have my Philadelphia Eagles pants on and my moccasins. Not exactly appropriate attire to be teaching you in. Who agrees that I could have shaved, put a shirt with buttons and maybe a collar on, and that I'd look a little bit more teachery? Well, I agree. It's something called credibility. It's something called authority. You know, what you put on and how you present yourself makes you better persuasive to other people. So let me fix myself real quick. How's that? A little better? Do I look a little bit more like a teacher, someone you should respect and maybe listen to? Or do I look a little bit like I'm trying too hard? Let's try this. Now maybe I look like a community college teacher. You know, ethos is a funny thing, and ethos is credibility. You don't want to come across too lazy, or people won't trust you. And you don't want to come across as if you're trying too hard, or people will think there's a reason you need to try hard and you're compensating for something. Ethos is credibility. It's one of the 3 rhetorical appeals. So let's take a step back. What is rhetorical? Rhetorical comes from the word rhetoric. I'm sure some of you guys have heard the word rhetoric before, especially in an election year like this is. You'll hear the political rhetoric. Rhetoric is simply the art of using discourse, written, visual, spoken, the art of using discourse to persuade. It's an old Greek thing. Back when democracy was first invented in Greece, well, not first invented, but back when the Greeks had democracy, the power of standing up there and giving a speech and persuading the masses to go along with you, I mean, that's real power. And therefore, the Greeks really practiced on how to be the most persuasive with their language. And that's rhetoric, the art of persuasion. So rhetoric is the art of persuasion, the art of using discourse to persuade. And there's 3 rhetorical appeals: ethos, pathos, and logos. Pathos, you hear that word path, that Latin root word, like sympathy, empathy, compassion, that means emotion. So you can persuade someone through pathos is persuade someone through emotion. And you say, I'm really tired, I'm really hungry, I had a bad day, I lost my dog, my car broke, can you give me $20? And maybe you broke your listener's heart and they give you $20. Logos is like logic, logos, logic. That's convincing your audience through logic. I need your $20 because if you give me $20, I'm going to put it in the right places to invest it. I'll make $40, but then I'll be able to pay you back $25. So you make money, I make some money, and we're both happier. How can we lose? It's like logical. And then last and most important is ethos, because that transcends everything. That's just your credibility. The human animal is a very judgmental animal. We're cliquey and clingy, and we look at people and we go, you don't belong, or I don't trust you, or I do trust you, and a lot of that is based on first impressions. You've heard that phrase, the first impression is the most important. You want to be credible. Ethos is probably one of the most important of the global issues of writing. Because you could have the most focused thesis in the world, you could have the best organized body paragraphs in the world, and you could really develop and support your point. But if you don't format your paper according to the MLA guidelines, if there's misspellings out the wazoo in the first 2 or 3 sentences, and the paper's like really crumpled up, and maybe you ran out of black ink, so you printed it on red and you hand it to me, well, guess what? I'm never going to see your beautiful focus, organization, or development support, because at first blush, I'm going to judge it and say this paper has no credibility, I'm throwing it out. Ethos is key in the real world and in English 101. I want you guys to be awesome writers and be very persuasive, but you've got to let someone give you the time of day first. And you convince people to give you the time of day by having rock solid Ethos. We live in a postmodern world. What that means is everyone's voice matters. Modernism started earlier in the 20th century after the Industrial Revolution, and machines were dominant, the Western Hemisphere was dominant, and modernism stated that there were experts who knew things, and if you wanted to know things, you had to listen to the experts, work under them, apprentice or intern for them, and then maybe you would rise also to the level of expert. Modernism gave us lists of the 20 best American books. Modernism gave us U.S. history from the white male perspective. Modernism presupposed that there was an absolute truth, and that you could grab this objective absolute truth, and it would be filtered down from old white people in ivory towers at Stanford and Oxford, and that's where truth came from. And then World War II happened, and the immigrant experience really started to increase, and post-colonialism happened in China and India, and we realized that, wait a second, these old white guys in towers in Oxford and Stanford don't have all the answers, because what about the story of women? What about the story of Mexican-American immigrants to Southern California? What about the story of Irish immigrants to Boston and Philadelphia? Their voices need to be heard too. It's not just what these old people at Stanford and Oxford say. So postmodernism presupposes that there isn't an objective truth that we get from one source, and if we work hard and work under these experts, they'll give us this truth. Postmodernism supposes that there are many different truths, and if we listen to everyone's different voice, from the woman experience to the Mexican-American experience to the Irish experience, the more of the voices we listen to, we can kind of triangulate something that resembles truth. Therefore, and hopefully this makes sense, your voice matters. Everything you write about is as important as a professor from Stanford, is as important as a professor from Harvard, because we live in a postmodern world. And I want you guys to realize you have this power to be listened to. I mean, you can make a YouTube video, you can post something on the internet on a blog, and technically, someone from the New York Times could read that. Technically, someone from the New York Times could quote that. This is real power that all of us as individuals have in the postmodern world. But, as Spider-Man teaches us, with great power comes great responsibility. So, you have to present yourself and respect yourself as someone who's worth listening to. Every thought you have is worth writing down. Every thought you have contributes to everyone's greater sense of something that resembles the truth. So, take yourself seriously and present yourself with credibility. Ethos. It's key.